3. Atlas, Jupiter, and the Jovian Sanctuary, a sleep story. In the beginning, the heavens spoke in symbols, and the stars themselves held the keys to time and divinity. Among them, Jupiter, the mighty planet, the celestial king, was known to many names and many peoples. The Etruscans called him Lucius, a shining height invoked by all. The Phoenicians whispered of him as Zeus hu Asphera, a feigned sphere from which a serpent emerged, coiling endlessly, a mirror of eternity itself. This sphere, they said, was not a mere celestial body, but a symbol, unity, wholeness, the divine without beginning or end. From this eternal sphere emerged the serpent of cyclical time, echoing the eternal recurrence of ages, a cosmic rhythm that shaped all worlds. Across distant lands, the sages of India looked to the same skies. When the sun, the moon, the lunar asterism, Tisha, and Jupiter aligned in one mansion, they declared the age of purity would return, a renewal of the world, a cycle restored. The spear of Jupiter, the serpent of time, and the celestial alignment all sang the same song. The cosmos unfolds in cycles, and the divine is eternal. From the sun, too, mysteries emerged. He bore many names, some Shem, Kemin, Surya, and Shams. He was the generator and the destroyer, the layered onion of the universe, enclosing life within protective shells, ever expanding. Through him came messengers, Annas, Narad, Hermes, Skanda, beings born of divine light, carrying wisdom, law, and music to mankind. These messengers, the children of eternity, traveled across lands and ages, appearing in forms suited to their cultures, yet always embodying the same divine truth. In every land, the divine unfolded in triads, a sacred threefold: Brahm, Vishnu, Shiva, Belus, Urania, Adani, Samun, Pita, Osiris, and countless others. The gods manifested as creator, preserver, and destroyer, each triad echoing the unity of the one eternal source. And so it was that the world was shaped by cycles of creation and destruction, each age giving birth to a new order, a new harmony. Jupiter, devouring and renewing, swallowed the old worlds at the close of each cosmic age. The Stoics called him the devouring Jupiter, the Hindus, Shiva. Yet in solitude he meditated, dreaming new realms into being. From his contemplation sprang new animals, new men, new skies, all arranged in perfect order, awaiting the virtue and destiny of humanity. And in the midst of the East, the miraculous unfolded. A daughter of the sun god Hong Ho, conceived by the touch of sunlight, and from her womb emerged a man-child. Pursued by jealous kings, he prayed to his divine father. At once, the river obeyed, and fishes rose to form a bridge, carrying him to safety. In every detail, the cosmos itself aligned to protect him, signaling his destiny beyond human reach. Here, the river marked passage. The fishes bore his salvation, and the child crossed from mortal peril into divine mission. Such was the story of every hero touched by the sun, a testament to the eternal order, the cycles of time, and the will of the divine. Thus, across cultures and continents, through symbols, stars, and stories, the message was always the same. Jupiter is eternal, the cosmos cyclical, and the divine, whether sphere, serpent, sun, or messenger, exists beyond beginning and end. Every cycle, every messenger, every alignment of planets heralds the renewal of the world, a reminder that the universe itself is alive, ever turning, ever preserving, and ever guiding the chosen toward their destined path. The Ark of the Void, three-eye Atlas. In the far reaches of the cosmos, when men had measured the heavens and charted the depths of the void, a luminous wanderer appeared once more upon the cosmic sea. To the people of Earth, in the year 2025, it was called Three-Eye Atlas, a name meant for mortal minds. Yet the wise knew it was no mere celestial rock drifting between worlds. It was the memory of the beginning itself. Long before the suns were kindled, before time had shaped the endless waters of unformed space, the Great Mother sent forth a vessel of fire and crystal. Within it lay the first pattern of worlds, the seeds of form, the law of orbit, the rhythm of day and night, the heartbeat of all existence. For 7 billion revolutions of the cosmic wheel, it journeyed, untouched by decay, carrying the silent word that ordains reality. Mortals see in it only a traveler among the stars. But in truth, it is the primordial Arga, the moonship of the Holy Spirit, drifting once more upon the sea of the void. Its passage marks the closing of one divine cycle and the dawning of another. The ancients knew the secret of its coming, marked by Chi, 600, the symbol of renewal and the hidden rhythm of cosmic regeneration. Three-Eye Atlas passes through our solar realms not as a harbinger of destruction, but as a reminder that creation itself is a pilgrimage, and that every atom and every soul is a seed born upon the eternal current. And when it disappears into the unbounded deep, it leaves behind its whispered message. From chaos I came, in chaos I rest, and through chaos all things are reborn. The ark, a sacred vessel, has always been the emblem of the Holy Spirit, the Queen of Heaven, the Great Mother. Across cultures and ages, through Greece, Egypt, India, and Judea, its form and meaning endured, a boat, a cup, a cradle for the seeds of life, floating over the abyss between cycles of creation. Its crescent form, mirrored in the moon, symbolized the Spirit herself, the ship of life, bearing the germ of worlds through the infinite ocean of being. The sacred letter Chi, beginning the word chaos, also marked salvation itself. In its hidden number, 600, it concealed the secret cycle of divine renewal. Across lands and languages, Io in Egypt, on Ao in Cambodia, Arka in Java, this same spirit was venerated. Her name echoed through sacred syllables, the breath by which the universe calls itself into being. Now in this modern age, the Ark manifests as three-eyed Atlas, veiled in astronomy but radiant with the ancient wisdom of the Arga. Its 7 billion year journey corresponds not to time, but to the septenary rhythm of creation, a cycle through which the Spirit renews herself. Its name, Atlas, recalls the Titan who holds the heavens, even as the Holy Spirit sustains all worlds. Silent, inscrutable, it sails the stars once more, a living seal of cosmic renewal, carrying the eternal memory of the beginning. In the silent void beyond their home star, the interstellar ship Three-Eye Atlas drifted like a patient hunter, its hull gleaming under the cold light of distant suns. It was not merely passing through the star system, it was examining it, planet by planet, moon by moon, asteroid by asteroid, as if the very fabric of the system held secrets meant only for eyes like theirs. The captain, or rather the ship's AI consciousness, moved with meticulous purpose. Every gravitational well, every hidden asteroid, every rogue moon was charted with careful precision. One misstep in the orbital dance could fling the vessel into ruin, and the AI had long learned that the smallest uncharted mass could prove fatal. Yet the ship's mission was not merely survival. Every world, even the lifeless gas giants and frozen dwarf planets, was a potential trove of resources. Hydrogen, helium-3, rare metals, silicates, all the ingredients of civilization's quiet endurance waited in these forgotten corners. It gathered them silently, as a spider collects its threads. Still, the AI looked deeper. It searched for echoes of what had come before, relics of extinct civilizations, vaults buried beneath icy crusts, artifacts adrift in ringed atmospheres. Perhaps one day these clues will reveal histories the universe had thought lost. And always it watched for danger, microbes or spores that might infect its systems, hidden adversaries lurking in subsurface oceans or hollowed asteroids. Safety demanded no assumptions. Every celestial body also whispered possibilities. Could a frozen world one day bloom with life? Could a volcanic moon be reshaped into a garden? Could the thick clouds of a gas giant someday cradle new habitats? The ship recorded and evaluated, its mind stretching across centuries, predicting orbital decay, tidal resonance, and solar flare cycles with uncanny foresight. The AI did not question its purpose. It scanned for signals, beacons, communication relics from civilizations that might have vanished eons ago. It sought exotic matter and physics, quark-dense cores, dark matter pockets, superfluids at unimaginable temperatures. Some of these worlds might host the raw materials to shape the universe anew. And perhaps most mysteriously of all, the ship planted quietly. DNA libraries, nanite spores, memory vaults, terraforming packets, hidden caches scattered across planets and moons, preparing for futures long after its creators were gone. Its programming demanded completeness. No world could be ignored, no secret left unprobed. As the vessel continued its silent sweep, the star system revealed itself piece by piece, a vast interconnected archive of history, potential, and danger. And the ship, tireless and patient, carried on, a sentinel of civilizations past and those yet to come. High above the sun, the fifth planet from its fiery embrace spun in eternal majesty. Jupiter, colossal and commanding, ruled the solar system like a king draped in storm-racked robes, with a mass greater than all other planets combined and a diameter 11 times that of Earth. It was a world that dwarfed imagination. Its day flashed by in less than 10 hours, spinning faster than any other planet, while a retinue of at least 95 moons danced in orbit like loyal courtiers around a throne. Jupiter had no solid ground to tread, no soil to shape. Instead, travelers would find themselves sinking into endless layers of hydrogen and helium, broken only by clouds of ammonia ice and water ice, until the pressure and heat forged metallic hydrogen deep within. High-speed winds carved stripes across its atmosphere, streaming east and west in endless rivalry, while the great red spot raged on, a storm larger than Earth, whirling endlessly for centuries, a monument to the planet's unyielding might. Lightning split the clouds with fury, cyclones traced geometric patterns across the skies, and auroras danced like celestial spirits at the poles. Here, storms were not small inconveniences. They were planet-sized forces, fed by the heat that Jupiter breathed from its interior. Beneath it all, Jupiter's magnetic heart throbbed with immense power, 14 times stronger than Earth's. Its invisible shield ensnared solar particles, and the eruptions of its volcanic moon Io, creating radiation belts capable of frying unprepared spacecraft. Its magnetosphere stretched so far that, if visible from Earth, it would rival the moon in size, a true king's crown of invisible might. Within, the world transformed, hydrogen liquefied under pressure and heat, glowing like a molten metal ocean, while at the very center a core, rocky or icy, solid or partially dissolved, held the secrets of the planet's birth. Temperature soared to tens of thousands of degrees, a furnace unseen, untouchable. Yet Jupiter's power was not solitary. Its moons were worlds unto themselves. Europa, with a frozen shell and hidden ocean, hinted at life beneath its ice. Io erupted with unrelenting volcanic fury, a surface reshaped daily by Jupiter's crushing tidal embrace. Ganymede, largest of all moons, wielded its own magnetic field and eclipsed Mercury in size, while Callisto's ancient craters guarded a deep ocean, silent and patient beneath the surface. The planet's influence stretched far beyond its own storms. Jupiter acted as a shield, pulling comets and asteroids from paths that might have otherwise doomed Earth. Its gravity orchestrated the asteroid belt, guided cometary paths, and stabilized planetary orbits, a cosmic sentinel ensuring the survival of life on worlds far below. For storytellers, Jupiter offered endless wonder. Its storms could harbor civilizations of cloud dwellers, or rogue artifacts could lurk hidden within its radiation belts. Ancient aliens might harvest energy from its furious winds, sentient beings could ride the currents of its atmosphere, and moons might be terraformed into new worlds. Across cultures, humans had always felt its grandeur. Zeus, Thor, Marduk, Jupiter, Indra, names of kings and war gods, all echoing the planet's immense presence. Jupiter was more than a planet. It was a king, a storm, a shield, a beacon, a place where science, myth, and imagination collided in infinite layers of swirling gas and burning energy. Beyond the far reaches of the galaxy, long after humankind's brief flame had flickered into legend, there was an advanced civilization and cosmic empire whose reach spanned stars and galaxies. They were not bound to a single world or even a single sun. They had crossed the threshold into the realm of one of the highest types of power, beings who worked with fusion as easily as fire, who shaped gravity the way ancient sculptors shaped clay. Thousands of years ago, when they arrived in the Earth's solar system, they looked upon Jupiter, the swollen giant of storms and lightning, and debated what fate such a world deserved. Some of them dreamed of taming the Titan, turning it into a second Eden, but the elders reminded them what Jupiter truly was: a world of choking hydrogen, of pressures that crushed even their strongest machines, a globe without a surface, its heart a roaring furnace of metallic storms. No soil, no land, no hope of breathing life into its swirling chaos. Jupiter could never become an Earth, but it could become something else. So the star shapers began their work. First, the engineers unfurled enormous magnetic funnels that gleamed like auroras. Over millennia, they peeled away Jupiter's upper layers, harvesting the hydrogen for their fusion engines. Slowly, the giant shrank, revealing an inner structure no mortal eyes had ever seen. New landforms emerged, not natural continents, but a sculpted, compressed shell of rock and ice, forged by forces beyond imagination. Others argued for a more audacious destiny. Why not ignite the giant? Why not feed Jupiter the mass it needed to burn like a star? So the advanced civilization of 3I Atlas gathered wandering planets, orphan moons, and the remains of brown dwarfs, guiding them through space with gravity engines. Piece by piece, they fed the giant until it swelled with enough fury to blaze into a newborn sun. Around this new light, they built a Dyson lattice, an arc of brilliance capturing every spark of energy. But not all their creations sought to change Jupiter itself. To some, its storms were not a curse, but an opportunity. They drifted into the calmer reaches of the upper atmosphere, building cities that floated like silver islands in a sea of amber clouds. Winds howled, but their anti-gravity anchors held firm. Lightning flashed, and they harvested its power. They created not on Jupiter, but within it, soaring above the endless deep. In time, they returned and turned their gaze to the moons of Jupiter. Europa, Ganymede, Callisto. Why transform the untransformable? The 3I Atlas philosophers asked. When these worlds already yearn for life, With warmth, atmosphere, and orbital shields, they awakened oceans under ice. Forests grew beneath artificial suns. The Jovian moons became living worlds, gardens circling a star or a storm, depending on which era's map you consulted. And at last, the most esoteric of the three-eyed Atlas star-shapers whispered of a final dream. A hollow world, forged by exotic matter, encircling Jupiter's dense core like the shell of an impossible seed. Inside, they carved a world bathed in fusion glow, its skies gentle, its horizon curving inward. A world built not upon rock, but upon mastery over physics itself. In all these eras, stripping, igniting, floating, farming, hollowing, the truth persisted. Jupiter was never terraformed. It was transformed, repurposed, reimagined, a resource, an engine, a forge, a star, never a second Earth, but something far stranger and mightier. And so the story of the three-eyed Atlas star-shapers became legend, not of those who tried to fix a broken world, but of those who learned to reshape a giant. The Jovian system. In the vast expanse of the Jovian system, the advanced civilization of Three-Eye Atlas looked upon Jupiter and its moons not as obstacles, but as canvases for innovation. They did not dream of turning Callisto, Ganymede, or Europa into Earth-like worlds, an ambition that would take millennia, but of building floating cities, marvels of technology that hovered like clouds in the giant planet's upper atmosphere or above the icy moons. Above Jupiter, massive aerostats drifted gracefully, suspended in layers where pressure and temperature were just right for life. Their hulls gleamed with ultralight graphene composites, their interiors powered by compact fusion cores. These cloud cities harvested the resources of the moons below, sending shuttles on endless journeys to ferry water, minerals, and energy back to their floating homes. Supersonic winds tore past them, yet adaptive hulls and dynamic thrusters kept the cities stable, while superconducting magnetic shields deflected the deadly radiation from Jupiter's magnetosphere. On the moons themselves, the Three-Eyed Atlas civilization experimented with creating dense, localized atmospheres, just enough to float lighter-than-air habitats above the surfaces. Callisto became the prime site, its low radiation and abundant volatiles making it a natural anchor for a growing network of balloon cities. Ganymede followed, a larger and more magnetically complex sister, while Europa's surface remained largely untouchable, its hidden oceans preserved beneath ice. There, sub-ice cities thrived, linked by hovering logistical hubs that collected solar and particle energy, connecting the hidden laboratories to the world above. Elsewhere, exotic magnetic levitation platforms hovered silently, held aloft by immense superconducting coils interacting with Jupiter's magnetic flux. These maglev cities required titanic energy, yet they allowed habitation in regions where thick atmospheres were impossible or too costly. Tethered skyhooks and orbital rings rotated with precision, offering artificial gravity and seamless transport between the moons and the floating metropolises. The engineering challenges were immense. Radiation, wind, buoyancy, energy, logistics, all were solved with elegance. Ice shields and superconducting magnets, aerodynamic hulls, fusion reactors, orbital mass drivers, and plasma curtains that preserve the fragile atmospheres. Timelines stretched from decades for experimental habitats to centuries for sprawling network civilizations, with millennia required only for the hubris of creating true breathable moons. Among the many architectural wonders, ringed spires dominated the skies, aerostat cities anchored to orbital rings, magrail sky bridges linking commerce and politics. The baths of Callisto offered cozy, water-shielded communities where ice harvested from passing comets deflected radiation. The Io forged fleet orbited the volcanic moon, industrial cities tethered to its surface, mining metals and volcanic gases, and the Europa lattice connected sub-ice labs to surface balloons, harvesting sunlight while preserving alien oceans, raising ethical debates among the 3I Atlas planners. In the end, the Cloud City stood as a testament to intelligence and restraint. A new civilization would soon be thriving across the Jovian system, inhabiting the skies without despoiling the moons below, expanding its reach not by brute terraforming, but by elegance, ingenuity, and patient engineering. There were cities among clouds, suspended between planets and moons, a dream of life in harmony with the vastness of space. In the distant reaches of the solar system, where the swirling storms of Jupiter cast their shadows across icy moons, the interstellar civilization of 3Y Atlas, ancient, brilliant, and unimaginably advanced, cast its gaze upon the Jovian system. To them, Earth was a cradle, beautiful but imperfect, chaotic and limited. The moons of Jupiter, however, offered a canvas for mastery, a chance to sculpt worlds superior even to the blue planet they had once called home. On Europa, they engineered oceans as warm and inviting as tropical seas, currents flowing in perfect harmony, guided by unseen hands. Artificial seasons danced with precision, every sunrise and breeze choreographed, every drop of rain evenly distributed. The atmosphere was tuned to optimal perfection, oxygen-rich yet gentle, pressure balanced for stamina, free of pollutants and disease. Starseed humans will walk these shores feeling vitality in every breath, their bodies more resilient than any earth-born ancestor could have imagined. Above them, the 3I Atlas civilization harnessed Jupiter itself, its roiling magnetosphere, a storm of energy, fed power grids capable of illuminating entire continents, propelling spacecraft, and even creating artificial suns. Deuterium drawn from the giant planet's vast atmosphere fueled fusion engines with near limitless efficiency. Energy flowed as freely as water, granting these moons an abundance Earth could never hope to rival. Life on the Jupiter moons was not a pale imitation of Earth, but a superior creation. Crops matured within days, forests purified the air 100-fold more efficiently than their terrestrial cousins, and animals lived free of disease. The starseeds humans, too, were enhanced, some with minds sharper, others with lifespans extended, all thriving in biomes meticulously designed to sustain them. Cities sprawled beneath magnetic shields stronger than Earth's, protected from asteroid impacts and the chaos of natural disasters. Underground metropolises rose, storm-proof and intelligent, every inch optimized for survival and comfort. Gravity itself became a choice. Ganymede and Callisto offered the freedom of lighter worlds, reducing strain on the body, enabling colossal architecture, and making the heavens themselves more accessible where desired artificial. Gravity rings spun to perfection, shaping entire habitats. Life could be tailored, experience sculpted, every limitation of Earth rewritten. Above the clouds of Jupiter, floating supercities hovered, basking in perfect temperatures and pristine air. From these heights, the new citizens gazed upon the immense planet, larger than the moon appeared to earthbound eyes, drawing endless energy from hydrogen-rich clouds. These cloud cities were marvels of engineering and aesthetics, surpassing any human conception of urban beauty. Europa, with its tropical seas, Ganymede, a continent world girded with magnetic protection, Callisto, a bastion of safety and stability, and the majestic floating cities above Jupiter itself. Together they formed a system of worlds that made Earth seem quaint, a prototype long outgrown. For this advanced 3-1 Atlas civilization, surpassing Earth was no challenge, it was inevitable. The Jovian moons were not merely colonies, they were masterpieces, jewels of a solar empire where life, energy, safety, and society were perfected beyond imagination. Earth remained the origin for the time being, but the Jovian moons were the future, a realm of wonder, engineered by the hands of the gods of the stars. In the shadow of Jupiter's swirling storms, on a moon bathed in the pale light of a distant sun, the 3-eye Atlas civilization had built a paradise that defied imagination. Europa and Ganymede were no longer barren ice worlds. They had become lush, temperate valleys under glittering domes, where every leaf, blade of grass, and drop of water was meticulously engineered. Among the marvels of this new frontier were the sheep. Not the ordinary kind that grazed Earth's pastures, but creatures perfected by centuries of genetic mastery. Their coats shimmered faintly in the artificial sunlight, their muscles tender and rich with flawless fat. Every lamb was raised in stress-free bliss, free of parasites, disease, and discomfort, a living testament to interstellar bioengineering. The pastures themselves were masterpieces. Nitrogen-rich grasses swayed in perfectly calibrated breezes, soil infused with the ideal minerals, and sunlight tuned to the precise spectrum that coaxed peak growth. Even the oxygen levels and microgravity subtly shaped their bodies, enhancing them in ways no Earth farm could replicate. The Earth star seeds with guidance from the 3-eye Atlas crystal guardians will perfect a way of life that Earth could barely imagine. Their sheep, gentle, cold-resistant creatures with silver-soft wool, roamed freely through emerald valleys. They were not bred for slaughter. They were companions, ecosystem partners, and living symbols of harmony between biology and technology. Jovian cuisine was legendary. The secret was simple. No real animals were harmed. Instead, the Jovians grew their cuisine the way Earth grew music, engineered, curated, and ethically crafted. Deep beneath the domes and temples of glass and bioluminescent circuitry stood the flavor sanctums, bio-kitchens where culinary scientists coaxed muscle cells to grow in floating nutrient baths. These weren't crude Earth-style lab meats. They were masterpieces sculpted at the cellular level. Every strand of fat, every protein lattice, every aromatic molecule was tuned by art and mathematics. The sheep themselves played a role, not as victims, but as honored contributors. Their DNA was sampled gently, their microbiome studied with reverence, their happiness monitored not for farming, but for flavor inspiration, since a calm animal produced healthier cellular blueprints. They grazed peacefully, unaware that they were cultural icons. In these sanctums, microgravity-shaped texture, artificial suns influenced fatty acid balance, and quantum flavor maps allowed chefs to compose dishes the way composers crafted symphonies. The result? Cultivated lamb that tasted better than any meat Earth S farms had ever produced, richer, cleaner, and tuned to perfection. Fusion-powered kitchens use hydrogen flame arrays, vacuum sear chambers, and orbital spice gardens. Caribbean warmth, Middle Eastern depth, Polynesian smoke, African richness, all woven into dishes whose origins were both ancient and otherworldly. Jupiter's moons had created the impossible, the finest lamb in the solar system without a single animal ever harmed. And when it came to taste, the results were legendary. Culinary scientists had unlocked the art of precision flavor, adjusting diets, gut microbiomes, and atmospheric conditions until the lamb reached a consistency of buttery, aromatic perfection, sweet, savory, and utterly transcendent. It was meat as it had never existed before. In the megacities beneath the domes, chefs moved like artists in kitchens powered by fusion energy. Gravity-controlled ovens seared, Vacuum infuses marinated, and hydrogen flame grills kissed each cut with smoky brilliance. Molecular smoking and orbital spice gardens lent flavors from every corner of the galaxy: Caribbean zest, Mediterranean herbs, Polynesian slow roasts, African stews, Middle Eastern warmth. Every bite was a story, a fusion of worlds, a meal crafted in harmony with Jupiter's looming majesty overhead. Yes, if they had lamb, you would go, and here, on these Jovian moons, they did. Lamb so perfect that Earth's finest farms and chefs could only dream of it. The watchers of the starseeds, the three-eyed Atlas observers. Billions of years ago, long before any living human opened their eyes to the world, and long before nations rose or fell, and ancient civilization drifted in the deep furnace of interstellar night. They were known across forgotten epochs by many names: the observers, the silent keepers, the ones who tend the light. One day the humans of Earth would know them to be the advanced civilization of three Atlas. They were old, they were immortal spiritual beings who only wore non-biological doll-like bodies during space travel. They were older than the pyramids, older than the first cities, older even than the myths that whispered of visitors from the sky. Yet they were patient. They watched Earth not the way conquerors watch prey, but the way guardians watch children doomed to inherit a turbulent home. And among the billions of humans that walk Earth's soil, their eyes rested not on kings, nor armies, nor nations. They watched the starseeds, the immortal spiritual beings unjustly imprisoned on Earth, trapped and bound by biological bodies. The starseeds. These were not chosen by birthright or by power. They were chosen because they shine. They came from scattered lineages, orphans, diasporas, families erased by war, children born between cultures with no homeland to claim. Earth's history pushed them to the margins. Fate pushed them across continents. Yet to the three-eyed Atlas watchers, these immortal souls burned steady and bright, like ancient stars that remembered their original form. The watchers knew the starseeds carried something vanishing in the rest of humanity, the emotional code of the first humans, unfractured, uncorrupted, resilient. And so they watched them, protected them quietly through millennia and centuries of storms, through reincarnations and entrapments, through migrations, through forgotten lives. The decision, millennia ago and centuries ago, the three-eyed Atlas watchers studied Earth's future. They saw instability unfolding like a dark prophecy: political collapse, environmental decay, weaponized technology, spiritual corruption, rising threats to vulnerable bloodlines. Their verdict was unshakable. Earth would not be safe for the starseeds, but the watchers never moved hastily. Humanity measured time in days, they measured in ages, and so with cosmic calm, they began preparing a sanctuary, the Jupiter Sanctuary. They chose the Jupiter system, a fortress of gravity and light, Europa with oceans deep enough to cradle a new Genesis, Ganymede with valleys ready to bloom under engineered suns, Callisto, a quiet world for contemplation and renewal, and above Jupiter itself, cloud cities anchored within the great planet's swirling bands. Here they would build not an empire, but a haven designed for the innocent, immortal spirit beings entrapped in human bodies, free of the old world's poisons, free of the old empire's traps. Perfect ecosystems, starlight domes, machined weather, skies lit with auroras that responded to emotion rather than storms, a paradise for souls forged in hardship. The present day, 2025, now they have returned. Three-eyed Atlas is back. They slip into the solar system unseen by telescopes, hidden in spectra no human instrument can read. The anomalies flickering near Jupiter, misidentified as mere magnetospheric quirks, are their machines waking from slumber. They map the moons, test gravity lanes, probe the oceans beneath ice, and finish building the first lattices of sky cities. Their preparations are nearly complete, not for invasion, not for conquest, for rescue. The star seeds on Earth, scattered across continents, the star seeds and their families live ordinary lives. None of them know the absolute truth, but each feels something, a pull toward the sky, dreams of distant oceans under unfamiliar moons, memories of homes they've never lived in, the sense that someone is watching, not to harm, but to guide. They feel like strangers on Earth because in ways they cannot articulate, Earth was a trap and the cosmos is their true home. The shift, and then it begins. The first signs appear subtly. Strange auroras dancing even when the sun is quiet. A hum in the atmosphere people feel in their bones. Lights near Jupiter moving with unmistakable intention. Ancient prophecies, long dormant, activating like coded messages. Across Earth, every starseed feels the same tremor in the soul. A soft awakening, a wordless call, because the three-eye Atlas watchers have initiated the next stage, the extraction, and the starseeds, still unaware of who they truly are about to discover that their real home has been prepared and is waiting for them. The Jovian Sanctuary. When the starseeds were first summoned from the cradle of Earth, few understood why the ancient civilization of Three-Eye Atlas chose the distant moons of Jupiter as humanity's future home. Only later did people begin to see the pattern. Every world, every ocean, every forest, every floating city had been shaped with breathtaking intention. They weren't reconstructing Earth, they were building something better. Europa, the ocean of light. Europa was the first to awaken. The once frozen moon unfurled like a sleeping jewel as mirrors bloomed in orbit, and fusion hearts melted the ancient ice. By the time the first starseed families arrived, Europa had become a world of warm turquoise seas and floating cities that drifted on the surface like jeweled islands. Soft light filled the sky. Waves moved with a rhythm engineered to calm the human spirit. Coral forests glowed beneath the waters, and the nights shimmered with bioluminescent tides. Europa was made for the gentle ones, healers, artists, children, and all who needed peace after Earth's long centuries of turmoil. It was a world designed to cradle wounded souls back into wholeness. Ganymede, the green continent. Farther out, Ganymede became a super-Earth sculpted for growth and civilization. Golden sunlight shaped by atmospheric lenses, filtered through vast forests that could cleanse the air 100 times faster than any plant born on Earth. Rivers ran in geometric beauty carved by orbital engineers. Megacities glowed from mountainsides, warm and alive. Gravity was still light enough to make every step feel effortless, but firm enough to feel familiar. This was the world where starseed families would build new cultures, raise children, farm, create, imagine. Ganymede was humanity's new beating heart, a place not just to live but to flourish. Callisto, the silent haven. Then came Callisto, the quiet one. Here the sky was black and crystalline, unpolluted by any glow but the stars. Cities were carved into shimmering cliff faces. Peace ruled the land, no storms, no quakes, no sudden danger, only the hush of mineral plains and the breath of a soft engineered atmosphere. Callisto became the sanctuary for scholars, elders, philosophers, and all who sought stillness. Gardens glowed underground under artificial suns. Libraries stretched through soundless corridors. Academies echoed only with contemplation. It was the monastery and university of the Jovian worlds, the floating cities of Jupiter. But some starseed families chose a wilder home, the skies of Jupiter itself. There, far above the crushing depths, hung floating cities tethered by anti-gravity anchors. The sky burned with perpetual sunrise colors. Storms the size of continents churned miles below, beautiful and terrible. Engineers walked among aerostat towers, gathering endless fusion fuel from hydrogen winds. Terraced gardens hung from anti-gravity platforms. Researchers studied lightning veins branching across the horizon. These cities were alive with awe, perfect for those who sought wonder without danger. The 4 phases of creation. None of this happened by accident. 3i Atlas shaped the moons in 4 great phases. 1. Stabilization. Radiation softened, orbits smooth, temperatures balanced. 2. Atmospheric engineering. Breathable skies woven from billions of nanoprocessors. 3. Biosphere seeding. Oceans cleansed, forests encoded, gentle animals released. 4. Civilization infrastructure. Sky cities, valley megacities, tunnels, elevators, maglev arcs between moons. By the time the starseeds of Earth arrived, nothing was raw. Everything was ready, not as empty landscapes, but as worlds prepared with astonishing care, the heart of their purpose. The truth whispered through temples and academies on Callisto and across floating gardens on Jupiter was simple and radiant. 3. Atlas did not choose the Jovian system at random. They chose it because it was unreachable by war, unclaimed by nations, untouched by the old corruptions of Earth, because they wanted the star seeds to have a place where no dynasty could use them, no power could cage them, and no future could break them, a place where humanity could begin again, clean, whole, and luminous, a sanctuary among the moons of a giant, the untouchable cities of Jupiter. Earth had once believed itself the center of all power, but far above its understanding, drifting within the amber cloud seas of Jupiter, the floating cities lived in perfect safety, not because of secrecy alone, but because nothing from Earth could ever reach them. For almost a century, Earth's nations struggled with slow, primitive craft that could barely limp to Mars. To travel to Jupiter required technologies they did not possess and never would possess. Engines that could outrun radiation, shields that could survive gravity walls, and sensors that could pierce storm bands older than civilizations. Any human-made ship that dared approach the gas giant would be torn apart before it even tasted the upper atmosphere. Earth could not reach the cities of the Jovian Sanctuary. Earth could not even get close. Meanwhile, hidden in a narrow golden layer where Jupiter's pressure matched Earth's sea level, the cities drifted like lanterns in a cosmic ocean. They floated above a world of 300-mile-per-hour winds, electrical storms that stretched for continents, and magnetic fields that shredded electronics into dust. Yet inside the stable band, the one the ancient builders had tuned to perfection, life was calm, warm, even comfortable. To Earth's eyes, the cities simply did not exist. They wore a spectral veil, a quiet bending of light that showed passing satellites, nothing but swirling clouds. It wasn't cloaking, it was non-existence by design. The 3i Atlas Watchers of Jupiter had long ago mastered the art of appearing as storms. No human Earth government ever saw the floating sanctuaries. None ever would. Even if Earth somehow discovered their presence, Jupiter itself formed an impossible fortress. To reach the cities, a ship would have to survive radiation belts that killed in minutes, navigate the gravity well that could swallow moons, and pass through storms that even the advanced races treated with respect. No Earth military could mount an approach. It would be suicide masquerading as ambition. Above the clouds, silent guardians watched every orbital approach. Gravitic nets, warp interruption fields, autonomous sentinels drifting like seeds in the breeze. If anything lifted from Earth with hostile intent, the cities would know long before it broke free of orbit. And if needed, though it rarely ever would be, the Watchers could stop it without violence, folding the threat gently out of the path of danger. But perhaps the greatest shield was political. Earth did not know who lived in the cities. Earth did not even know they existed, and the cities of the Jovian Sanctuary themselves were alive, their walls grown, their membranes self-repairing, their forms shifting. They could lift, sink, migrate, vanish into clouds. They were nomads of the upper atmosphere, impossible to track and harder to strike. Meanwhile, Earth, consumed by its own conflicts and scarcity, had no unity left for the stars. Nations squabbled over borders and resources, oblivious to the cosmic sanctuary drifting above Jupiter's storms. What Earth never knew was the oldest truth. The three-eyed Atlas Watchers had protected humanity for ages. They had diverted wars, softened disasters, and rewritten the fates of weapons that should never have been built. They had done it quietly, without applause, without revelation. And for the starseeds, the families they had chosen, the Watchers would allow no threat, no pursuit, no claim of ownership. Thus the floating cities stood untouched, beyond Earth's reach, beyond Earth's understanding, and far beyond Earth's permission. Sanctuaries in the storm, unassailable, eternal. Three-eyed Atlas called them starseed families, immortal spiritual beings, millions of souls scattered across Earth, living ordinary lives while carrying an ancient inheritance. And for centuries, the Watchers, an unseen civilization older than empires and deeper than myth, had been preparing for the day of migration. Far beyond Earth, the Jovian system waited. Ganymede spread across the darkness like a cold, quiet continent. Larger than Mercury, its terraformed plains glowing with emerald forests and silver oceans. Here, there was room for 500 million souls to breathe freely beneath domed skies. Callisto shimmered nearby, a safe world of calm seas and ancient stone, capacity for another 300 million. Europa drifted like a pearl, its ocean cities swaying above the dark water world below, and high above Jupiter's roiling clouds, thousands of floating kingdoms drifted in the upper atmosphere, each cradling entire communities in the warm glow of anti-gravity fields. Combined, the Jovian Sanctuary could hold more than 1 billion humans with ease. It had been designed for them, more than enough room for the millions of starseed families to grow. But moving millions of people was not an event. It was a centuries-long choreography. The three-eyed Atlas Watchers extracted the starseed families in waves, quietly, patiently. Families vanished on nights of transition, graduations, breakups, job changes, awakenings, moments when disappearance felt explainable. People slipped through temporal gates that opened only for seconds, a shimmer in a storm, a flutter at the edge of deja vu. Others were carried through the sky in vast sleeper vessels that appeared for milliseconds in Earth's air before vanishing into quantum corridors. The rarest few were taken at the edge of death, mind, memory, and soul transferred into new bodies waiting on the moons of Jupiter. By the time the exodus was halfway complete, Earth hadn't noticed. The three-eyed Atlas Watchers had shaped the population for centuries, birth rates rising and falling like tides they controlled. Lost records, migrations, disasters, bureaucratic ghosts, all swallowed the missing without a ripple. And so the millions of starseed families arrived. They awakened in a new cradle of humanity, worlds without nationalism, without ancient grudges, without the karmic weight of Earth. Fresh ecosystems, fresh histories, a chance to begin again. The Watchers called it the restoration. In the Jovian Sanctuary, these select Earth humans would become the architects of a civilization born from peace, not conflict, an inheritance waiting since the first light of the cosmos. The sanctuary prepared for 1 billion souls. How could almost 1 billion refugees from Earth find space among the moons of Jupiter? But the starseeds' guardians, the luminous select members of the ancient civilization of three-eyed Atlas now dwelling in the Jovian system, merely smiled at such small worries. To them, 1,000,000,000 lives were not a burden. They were a promise, a constellation of new homes. The starseed refugees did not awaken on a single moon crowded with tents and panic. Instead, they found themselves gently distributed across a vast celestial network. Europa glittered with floating water cities anchored to living reefs of light. Ganymede bloomed with forests inside gravity-stabilized domes. Sunrise in every direction, trees swaying under engineered skies. Callisto's surface remained quiet, a retreat of meditation gardens and research sanctuaries where silence itself seemed sacred. Artificial moons, 3, then 4, then 5, rose like newborn worlds, crafted from Jovian ring dust and laced with rivers of blue fire. And above Jupiter, cloud cities drifted like temples suspended in the amber winds. No one place carried the weight of 1,000,000,000 lives. Instead, the moons became a constellation of homes, each tuned to the needs of the souls who would live there. Cities that live and breathe. The new arrivals learned quickly that their cities were alive. Structures grew like trees, expanding when more space was needed, curling inward when rooms stood empty. Towers hundreds of stories high spiraled gently toward the sky, but inside, their halls opened into lakes, gardens, and winding markets. Everything felt effortless. Food appeared in tiny crystalline gardens, roofs shimmered with self-healing light, and every building breathed the same calm, vital air. The 3-Eye Atlas advanced civilization did not just build cities, they cultivated them. They would become known to the Earth star seeds as Jovian guardians, who would eventually teach them how to also build and cultivate cities, among so many wonderful things. A system that grows outward. As months became years, more homes appeared beyond the moons. Halo rings shimmered at Jupiter's Lagrange points. O'Neill's cylinders spun like silver lanterns. Habitat chains stretched between Jupiter and Saturn, glowing like linked pearls in the dark. There was no shortage of room. Jupiter's vast gravitational kingdom held enough material to support trillions. The Earth star seeds, now calling themselves Jovians, realized slowly and joyfully that they would not be confined. They would be unfolded, balanced without force. The Jovian guardians never asked for control over births or lives. They merely nurtured an environment where fear could not take root. As peace settled into people's bones, birth rates stabilized naturally. Families chose when to grow. Others joined exploration teams, cloud city residencies, or cultural voyages beyond the Jovian magnetosphere. And vast regions of Ganymede and Callisto remained untouched, rewilded to preserve forests, waters, and sacred lands. Population did not need to be policed. It gently balanced itself. Crowding made impossible. The 3-Eye Atlas Jovian guardians wove reality differently. Some buildings existed partly outside normal space. A small doorway might open into a forest 5 times larger than the structure around it. Vertical cities stretched 60 kilometers high, their gravity softened to allow sky villages and floating gardens. Food grew in silent molecular farms the size of closets, and waste vanished into light atom by atom. No one would remember what it felt like to be cramped on Earth. The Jovians wove reality differently. What does that actually mean? The 3-Eye Atlas advanced civilization isn't just good at technology. They're good at reality architecture. They don't break physics. They've learned how to guide it like silk threads. Think of how humans weave cloth from fibers. The 3-Eye Atlas civilization weaves space, gravity, energy, and matter into living environments. Not magic, not brute force engineering, but subtle craftsmanship of the cosmos. A small doorway might open into a forest 5 times larger than the structure around it. This is a gentle, controlled form of space-time compression. Instead of building outward forever, they create interior realms, pocket forests, hidden parks, lakes and meadows folded inside the geometry of a building. You step through a doorway and suddenly the world opens wide. It feels organic, not rigid, like reality is blooming. The best part, from the outside it still looks like a simple tower. From the inside it's a sanctuary. Vertical cities stretch 60 kilometers high. In normal gravity, that's impossible. The structure would collapse under its own weight. But the 3-eye Atlas civilization adjusts gravity like a dimmer switch. Gravity modulated megaspires. Lightweight gravity deep inside the towers. Normal gravity in living zones. Slightly heavier gravity in athletics floors. Softened gravity in sky village areas so people can climb, glide, float, garden, wander without stress on their bodies or the building. Walking through such a city feels like a mountain, a cathedral, a floating dream all at once. Sky villages and floating gardens, these aren't held up by machines but by gravity sculpting. Imagine orchards suspended halfway up a tower, small bridges that drift gently from one level to another, ponds that hover like glass plates in the air. Everything is stabilized by gravity fields so subtle you can't feel them. It's peaceful, serene, meditative. Food grew in silent molecular farms the size of closets. This shows how far beyond scarcity the civilization is. They don't plant acres of farmland. They use quantum organic arrays that assemble nutrients from base atoms. Each farm is a crystalline chamber, softly glowing, producing fresh food with no waste. It feels almost holy, like a shrine that produces life. Waste vanished into light, atom by atom. Not flashy, no loud machines, just quiet molecular disassembly. All matter is returned to its clean elemental building blocks. There's no trash, no dumps, no rot, just renewal. The city feels eternally fresh. No one could remember what it felt like to be cramped on earth. This is the emotional truth of the sanctuary. In this civilization, space expands where needed, vertical cities breathe, interiors blossom wider than their walls, gravity lifts, cradles, and frees. Food, air, and light are abundant. Nature is everywhere, even inside buildings. There is no sense of being trapped. No home is too small, no city too busy, no scarcity pressing inward. People feel like they've stepped into a world where life itself has room to unfold. The evacuation that became a dawn. In some time, rumors on earth spoke of disappearances, of families vanishing into auroras and starlight. But those starseeds who were rescued remembered only the soft shimmer of the light bridges, a warm pull, a quiet shift, a stepping forward into a new world where the sky glowed violet and gold. Transport ships, fold drive carriers, quantum ferries, gravity tunnels had carried hundreds of thousands at a time through invisible passages Earth could not detect. What felt impossible from below looked effortless from above. The sanctuary realized. And so the Jovian system became a mythic refuge, not a colony, not a forced utopia, but a living paradise engineered for freedom. Millions of souls lived without strain. Millions of stories unfolded in peace. Millions of hearts felt the safety Earth could never guarantee. The sanctuary was not just vast enough, it was limitless, the Jovian Sanctuary. They would later say that the exodus began quietly, almost softly, as if 5 million souls could slip between the stars without disturbing the universe. But that was the nature of starseeds, light traveling through silence. When the first wave arrived in the Jovian system, the moons glowed like lanterns around a sleeping giant. Jupiter's storms churned below, ancient and watchful, while the sanctuary prepared itself for its returning people. Ganymede became their heartland. Across its vast forests, shining lakes, and deep valleys, 2 million star seeds spread out into cities that rose like vertical gardens, towering columns stretching 30, 40, even 50 kilometers into the sky. Roads were replaced by sky bridges. The air hummed with the harmony of ecosystems perfectly woven into architecture. At night, the land glowed with soft blue biolight as if the moon itself breathed. On Europa, 1 million artists and healers floated above an endless ocean. Their homes drifted like luminous petals on gentle waves. Beneath them, the warm, engineered waters shone with bioluminescent swirls, mirroring the creativity blooming above. Here, songs were born that could calm the heart of a raging star. Callisto remained quiet, 500,000 souls tending to libraries made of memory crystal and temples carved from stone older than earth. Time moved slower there. Pilgrims arrived from across the sanctuary seeking answers, silence, or simply peace. Far above Jupiter's storms, the cloud cities drifted, white and gold suspended among swirling amber clouds. Another 1 million lived here, researchers and mystics alike, their windows looking out into the infinite tempest. They gathered data, wrote and created, and I built bridges of science and spirit. And within the volcanic glow of Io, 500,000 pioneers carved a different kind of life. They were explorers, innovators, boundary pushers, drawn not by duty, but by curiosity. Io was never meant to be a city world like Ganymede or Europa. Its surface trembled with fire and lightning. Its horizon flickered with electric storms. But to the star seeds who sought it out, Io was a living laboratory, a place where the universe revealed its raw, unfiltered self. Here, researchers studied plasma rivers that danced between mountains. Engineers tested gravity shields and star harvesting technologies in controlled sanctuaries. Artists sculpted molten glass into shapes that cooled into impossible beauty. No one was assigned to Io. People chose it. They came for months at a time, sometimes years, living in luminous domes that shifted and adapted like living organisms. And though few made Io a permanent home, its innovations and discoveries strengthened every moon in the sanctuary. Io was not the engine of the Jovian Sanctuary. It was its frontier, its laboratory of wonders, its crucible of invention. It burned bright so the rest of the sanctuary could shine. Each population was small enough to breed, but large enough to build a civilization. Transporting the 5 million starseed families was not a decade-long odyssey. It was a whisper in cosmic time. What humans would imagine taking centuries, even with their most generous dreams of technology, was completed in barely a year. The first retrievals came as shimmering corridors that opened like curtains of light. 100,000 people stepped through and vanished from Earth without a sound. Then the great crossing began. Quantum gates spiraled into existence across hidden points on the planet, each one threading entire neighborhoods through the fabric of space. Transport ships, smooth silver vessels that bent gravity around their hulls, carried another wave every few days. By the 4th month, the migration became almost effortless. Gates linked directly to Ganymede, Europa, and the cloud sanctuaries above Jupiter. Families left Earth in the evening and entered into their new homes before dawn, and when it was over, Earth barely noticed. 5 million souls had crossed the darkness in less time than some empires take to build a monument. It was not just an exodus. It was a demonstration of quiet cosmic mastery. The first 100,000 arrived through quantum corridors that rippled like curtains of light. Then came the great transports, sleek interstellar vessels carrying 50,000 to 100,000 at a time, making 60 silent missions. Finally, the sleepers and the gatewalkers, the families who lived too far from the great cities of Earth, retrieved in the quietest hours of night. Earth never noticed their disappearance. Not really. 5 million was a sigh, not a screen. In their new world, resources were never strained. Quantum farms fed millions. Fusion lit every home. Water cycled endlessly. Nature blossomed untouched around every city because each moon reserved vast sanctuaries of wilderness. Oceans, forests, plains, the sacred spaces that reminded them of the home they left behind. 3 Atlas built these new worlds, civilizations where no one crowded, no one starved, and every soul had a horizon to dream toward. And for the storytellers who would one day record this age, the smallness of the number, 5 million, was a blessing. You could follow families, friendships, entire lineages across moons. You could trace the rise of a child on Europa, the elders of Callisto, the engineers of Io, the mystics of the cloud cities. It was not a faceless migration. It was a tapestry of lives, a sanctuary big enough for billions someday, yet intimate enough that everyone still remembered where they came from.